The crisis brewing in Syria is getting worse by the day. Joining us on the show at this point is Dr. Wael Awad. He's a strategic expert, West Asia. Dr. Awad, thank you very much for taking time out. I think first question first, what are the strategic factors in your understanding which are contributing to the fast gains that rebel groups are making, first in Aleppo, then in Hama, now Homs?
Thank you, Sweta. I don't call them rebels. I call them terrorist group led by Al-Qaeda and ISIS. If it is Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, the Abdul Muhammad al-Julani was IS cadres, and then he shifted to his loyalty to Al-Qaeda. Then when the American had $10 million on his head, he changed it into the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. So, but the American left up the $10 million on his head. So now you can ask the question why, because he must be doing their dirty job in Syria. So these terrorist group led by Erdogan from Turkey have been invading all these parts of Syria with the guns, with the drones, with the ammunitions, with all the tanks, which is get from the American, from the Turkish, and from the Israelis. Especially it happened after the ceasefire in Lebanon, the next day exactly after the Mossad met with the Turkish intelligence to start the phase 2 of destabilizing this part of the world. And Syria was held on the target, so Syria was the next. And we know that all these things happened because of this invasion has taken place, and the Syrian government didn't want to have civilian casualties moved out of the cities and to different places. But the fight is on, the battle is on, and we know that repulsing this kind of movement will take some time. And I think now there is a meeting currently happening in Iraq, where there is the Iranian, the Turkish, the Syrian are meeting in the capital to discuss the Iraqi and the Syrian and the Iranian, the future of Syria and the stabilizing. And secondly, Sweta, which we can see, most of the Arab countries, most of the world have supported Syria integrity, which is a clear indication that those who are fighting in Syria, they are not even 1% of them are Syrian. It's mainly Uzbek, Uyghur, Tajik, Uzbekistan, and even from the north Marrakesh area of the Algeria, of Moroccans, of origin of those of Al-Qaeda. So therefore, let us be very clear about the intention of this people is to destabilize, disintegrate Syria and create havoc in the region. So the American president comes. So the second after Ukraine, they will focus more in West Asia, could be a regional war.
All right. And what are the implications of fall of Aleppo as well as Hama for Assad's regime, both in central as well as northern Syria?
Absolutely. I think it's a major blow because Aleppo is considered the capital, the industrial capital of Syria, like Bombay for India. And it has been there. In fact, 2011, when the uprising started, most of these factories were dismantled and sold at a token price to Turkey, because Turkey were eyeing on Aleppo because they wanted to destroy the industrial city. So it is an industrial city. It is the heart of Syria. And it is also very important in terms of the population living there in Aleppo. The painful point is that Turkey now is claiming that Aleppo is a part of Turkey and not part of Syria. And we could see the flag of Turkey flying over the castle of Aleppo, and also cars from Turkey are now floating into the city, which is, as I have been saying for years, it is the de facto Khalifa Erdogan who has been opened his country as a state sponsor of terrorism to allow all these terrorists to enter Syria at the first place, and then give them shelter in Idlib, where he was occupying it since 2011, and then now unleash this terror into the Syria. So Aleppo is quite important. Hama is also equally important. It's the central of Syria. It's my city, and I know my family are in a deep trouble, and all the people are worried because we don't know when they will slaughter the people. They are trying to give a good image that they are moderate. They are not going to attack civilian, but that is only because the white helmet and Turkish forces have taught them that you wanted to gain the popularity and the loyalty locally and also internationally recognized. So you have to give a good image that you are not a killer, the same savage of Daesh and Al-Qaeda who created havoc in 2011 in most of Syria and Iraq and the rest of the Arab countries during the Arab Spring.
All right, so it does look like they're keeping a face right now, and the mask may fall off later on. Dr. Awad, where are the supporters of Bashar al-Assad right now? We know that Russia is busy with Syria. We know that Iran's focus is on Israel. Is that what is affecting their ability to help Bashar al-Assad?
See, the attack on Syria is not for the first time it happened. We know that we are at war with our neighbor. We know that Syrian part is occupied by Israel, which is the Syrian Golan. We know that this has been on. It has been on before even the Islamic Republic of Iran came to existence in 1979. But let us see what Turkey, the rule was in this region, was to destabilize it and wanted eyeing the Mosul of Iraq and eyeing the northern part of Syria, Aleppo, and also Idlib, the two major cities, as part of Turkey annexation, because the Americans were worrying them that they're creating a Kurdish enclave within Syria, the northern western part, to extend. So Iran is busy with its own internal affairs, but they were always supporting, and they were the one responsible for making defeat of the Daesh and the terrorist organization in 2015 when they took part in the liberation of these Aleppo, along with Russia, along with the Popular Front of Iraq and Hezbollah and Syrian army. So these are the real people who are fighting terrorism in Syria. Now, Russia busy in Ukraine, but there are Ukrainian intelligence who are helping Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, training them on the drones, because the fight of in Ukraine shifted between Russia and Ukraine into Syria. So the Syrian people are paying the price also. So it may sound like the American wanted to weaken the Russian, in fact, because they have military bases in Syria. They have the military base, which is the only base for them in the Mediterranean Sea. So when the Syrian government falls, definitely this military base will not remain there. So now Iran recognized the danger of this terrorist group coming after Syria, Baghdad, and then it will come to Tehran. So similarly, the Russian also feeling the heat that if the Syrian government fall, it is going to be, they will be out of the Mediterranean Sea. So I think they will regroup their forces to defeat those forces on the ground. If they don't do it, then Syrian situation could break up into a more catastrophe. And even this terrorists and those organizations can advance toward the capital of Damascus and maybe go beyond, because the aim is not only Syria, the aim is also Egypt, because they want to bring back the Muslim Brotherhood organization into there, the Takfiri, the Salafist group, to come back. So this will create an area of insecurity for Israel to declare itself as a Jewish state only. So annexation of Gaza, annexation of West Bank will be legalized by the new American president, Mr. Trump.
All right, so it's going to be a tough road ahead, especially for people of your country right now. But I want to come to what you earlier mentioned, Dr. Awad. You said your family is in Hama, if I'm not wrong,
yeah,
and
yes.
and you said they are suffering, and you said they are at imminent danger.
Yes.
Now, obviously, the toll of the catastrophe, the war, is going to be felt on a humanitarian level more by people. We know now that thousands of people are currently fleeing some of these cities, including that of Homs. I want to understand from you, where does it go from here on? Because this is now soon going to turn into a humanitarian crisis.
Absolutely. I think the Europeans have recognized and realizing the danger of another influx of migrants or forced immigration from Syria and Iraq, because if this terrorist organization come, definitely the Christians, the minorities of Syria and Iraq will definitely leave the city and leave the country, because they will be at risk at the hand of those Takfiri group. And that is where the dangers lie. The other problem is the economy is in dire situation in Syria because of the American economical sanction for more than 12 years on us. So with the people are feeling the heat. I have no contact with my family for the last 3 days. The internet got disconnected after they enter into Hama. We don't know what is there, but according to my other part of my families are in Damascus. They have gained touch with them. They are safe at the moment, but I don't think they will be safe for a long period if these terrorists who have come from all over the world had no business to be in Syria and claiming to be opposition or claiming to be rebels. I think this is a message I'm trying to give through every channel to the rest of the world that expose those terrorist groups, and that's the only way we can defeat terrorism.
All right. In which case, I think I'll let you go, Dr. Awad. My last question to you, therefore, is that the advancement of rebels or terrorists, as you put them, into Alawite heartland, how is that likely to impact the cohesion of the loyalist base of Bashar al-Assad?
Look, let me be more sectarian in my talk to you, and finally, Sweta. If you want me to talk in the communal lines, 95% of the Syrian army are Sunni. 5% only are from the minority. So how can it be it's a civil war or it is a communal? It's nothing communal. It is, everybody knows that the Syrian society is a moderate, secular. We have been living all together, coexisting all together. I don't know even my neighbor whether he was a Christian or Alawite. We have lived in that kind of environment in my country. But after the 2011, people start segregating and polarizing the society. They wanted to demonize the president, so they make sure if you demonize it, you will rally all these terrorists to come and fight on the name of Islam and saving Islam. It has nothing to do with Islam. It has nothing to do with Muslim in this part of the world. They are simply a terrorist who is using Islam. They are a trader of religion, has no touch, no knowledge of the religion itself, that they are attacking my country and fighting in the communal line. Latakia, Tartus is a mix of Alawite, mix of Sunni and Christian. And remember, it is the Christians, Syrian Christians, Orthodox Church is a danger, because all this act, it cannot be seen in isolation of what's going on in the Middle East, that they wanted to end the presence of minority Christians, and they wanted to have their own Christianity, because that will help the evangelists, the right-wing Zionist group living in the United States, that the Messiah will reborn again. And that's why we have to cleanse Syria, Iraq, Jordan, north of Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, till the new Messiah come and the new greater Israel is created.